Ah, there we go, it's on. Finally. Fucking hell, that took a while. Yeah, so, gyms are still closed. That's doing my head in. I mean, one of the only places, it's not even the whole of California, it's like county by county, I think. Because I went to Orange County for the weekend, stayed in a hotel, been to Huntington Beach, that was alright, the bars were open, gyms were open. But LA, specifically where we are, LA County, is completely locked down. Can't do anything, morale is banned, so yeah, winner. I don't know why my chat's not working. Anyone there? It's weird. Unless you're all just being quiet. Ah, there we go. Terry. Alright, it's working. Gustavo, not a commie. Nice one. Fantastic news. Right, so I'll get down to the nitty gritty. Talking about the gym being closed and the pubs being closed. It's been a pain up the arse out here. But the main reason I want to do this is because I've finally got tons of negative comments on one of my videos. I've normally got, 10 lefties who stumble on there. And, alright, Jack, how you doing? Nice to see you again. I've normally got like 10 communists, wayward communists that stumble in. I'd give me some abuse. But this time, it's still too quiet. Can you just turn the volume up? I'm pretty sure I thought I found the sweet spot for the mic. What about 79? That'll do. Yeah, turn the volume up. But this last video I made is just set the cat amongst the pigeons. Mitchell Miller. It was called Nighthawk, the progressive destruction of Mitchell Miller. And the short version, for anyone that hasn't seen the video, right, is... he was signed by a team called the Arizona Coyotes, and then they officially renounced his draft rights after they received a report that when he was younger, he got charged for racist abuse of a developmentally disabled classmate. So the short version is, when he was a kid, he was bullying other kids, and one of the kids happened to be autistic, whatever it is, and he happened to be black, which in my opinion is obviously the crux of the issue. Because every day you read thousands of stories about little kids who were super depressed, getting mercilessly abused. I mean, I know they love to overuse the word literally over here, but literally every day in thousands of schools across the entire Western world, kids get bullied. Hiya, Mike. All right. Mercilessly. I've read stories about kids committing suicide. It's horrendous. Nobody who's over the age of 20 thinks bullying is cool because it's inhuman to think that. You know that. I mean, why the fuck do we think it's such a big deal to pick on kids, pick on women, and pick on the elderly? Like, there's only one protected class there, unprotected class, and that's straight, normal men, because men are stronger. The whole reason it's bad when a man beats a woman up is not because of some nebula fucking hypothetical situations. It's because women are physically weaker than men. So when a man beats a woman up, it's bullying them. So we view it as being repellent because you're not fucking picking on equals. That's why we feel bad about bullying. It's in all of us. Old people, women and kids. When a man sees another man beating any of those three, some part of your brain says that's fucking awful, that. Because he's not picking on someone in the same ballpark. We don't do it with men, do we? If you see like a 6'4" man picking on a 5'4" man, you don't really think that's that bad. Because there's a happy medium, and we think that it's good for your life to become self-sufficient and to become confident and physically robust. So a large part of you when you see that is, well, stick up for your fucking self, you loser, right? That is the happy medium there. Bullying is when someone is far and away out of the ballpark. It's women, kids and old people. But as you say, Nighthawk, anyone who's reading who's not an idiot, bullying, Chris is right. It's part and parcel of school life. Every single school in every single country, there's a bully. More than one, and every day they beat up kids and do shit that's out of order. And no one supports that, and everyone's against bullying. But this kid got drafted, and then he got renounced. Because I think the worst of it was he beat him up a few times. Yeah, of course he physically abused him. He was a bully. He racially slurred him. And it says he tricked him into eating candy that had been placed in a urinal, which is shocking. But that is stereotypical bully behaviour. It's nothing worse than stereotypical bully behaviour. And I told my missus that story, and she said, oh, God, you know, when I was a kid, she said, I went to get Gatorade out of the vending machine, and there was a slam, and then when I put my hand in, there was 2 bottles. So I said, oh, nice one, we've got 2 bottles. Instantly, you think as a 30-year-old, or have you, something's gone dodgy, but you're not cynical when you're a kid, are you? She said, oh, look, we got one for free. And the mate went, nice one. And she said she took the blue one, the mate took the yellow one. And the mate went, oh, it's warm. They must have just restocked the machine. And she drank it, and one of the kids had pissed in it. Pissed in the bottle, put it in the machine waiting for someone. Prank. That is both a prank and bullying, isn't it? I'll try not to laugh, Mike. Hi, Adele, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. So, yeah, it is normal bullying. It's out of order, but none of that stuff is out of the ballpark of conventional bullying. He's beating him up, he's calling him names, in racial slurs, you're fucking insulting people. And tricking him into eating a push pop that they wiped in a urinal. Like, out of order bullying, but it's just bog standard bullying, right? My school was shocking. There was loads of bullying in my school, loads of it. And like I said, if they were within a year of you, you fill the cunt in yourself. I remember my dad, I was getting picked on by one lad. He was a year older than me. And I remember they were always trying to get me to fight another lad in my year. And the lad in my year had already told me he didn't want to fight. I'll even drop a celebrity name for you guys. The lad I was supposed to be fighting was Jonathan Woodgate, the footballer. Mate of mine, went to school with him, he was in my year. They were trying to get me to fight Woody because he was a big tall lad in the same year at school, and they thought I was pretty handy. And he came and seen me personally at break time and said, I don't want to fight you, they're trying to shit stir all the time. So when the bully from the year above came over to me the next time and said, when you going to fight Woody, like, stop being a fanny? My dad, I asked him for advice, and my dad, being my advice, said, tell him I'm not fighting him, but I'll fucking knack you, you cunt. And even though I was a little bit scared because I was only 14 at the time, or 15, he come over, this daft cunt, and said, oh, when are you going to fight him? Stop being a fanny. And I said to him, I steeled myself, even though I was a bit scared because I was a bairn. And I said to him, I'll tell you what, I'll fight you cunt. How's that sound? And he shit himself. He went, heh, 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 and laughed and just walked off. He didn't want to fucking fight with me because you teach people to stand up for themselves. So there is a massive difference between if he was picking on a woman or a fucking... I know he's developmentally disabled, a big deal, I suppose. But the point I'm getting at is, it's not the end of the world. He didn't kill him. He didn't stab him. He didn't, like, seriously, some fucker... My mate Woodsy threw a paper aeroplane with a razor blade on the end and it stuck in a kid's leg called Chris Ranson. I always remember that. He needed stitches. That was worse than this childhood fucking shit. So I made a video yesterday. I always ramble. I'm a natural gobshite. I made a video yesterday saying, why have we got such vitriol? Seriously, Twitter was just kill him. Kill him. It was one of the worst dog piles I've ever seen, like on social media. Just vehement condemnation. Some of the comments I got there was just endless shit off people. And Mitch DeRosary is one of the few. See if I can zoom in a bit there. Yeah. Mitch DeRosary is one of the few that's actually mature about this and saying, he's disagreeing with me, but he's saying his behaviour can't be excused as childishness, which I totally disagree with. But at least Mitch was mature about it. Some of them, like this fucking lunatic, Awesome Card Games, he's just proper calling me an evil, vile, repellent racist because I'm saying I don't think a fucking 13-year-old kid, which is how old he was, I suppose I should have pointed that out. What they don't tell you here is Mitchell Miller is 18 years old. 18 years old now. So he's a kid now. I know you think you know everything when you're 18, but you don't. When you get about 30, you go, fucking hell, everything my dad said was right, and I ignored the cunt. Like, Viva hate. It's good. But you don't. You're still a kid when you're 18. Really, honestly, I was a bit of an idiot till I was about 23, 24. Like, you don't mature very fast. Apparently, women mature a lot faster than men. Makes sense. They have kids to look after. Evolutionary. I'm thinking from an evolutionary standpoint there, not a sexist 1960s male standpoint. And, you know, it's wrong to treat an 18-year-old like a 30-year-old. And it's definitely wrong to treat a child like a 30-year-old, which is what Mitchell Miller was when he did all of the bullying. What they don't tell you in this story is, when he was done for that, he was 14 years old. So the bullying happened when he was like 13. Like a little fucking kid. 13 years old. And they just want to destroy him. Destroy his life. So I want anyone who's fucking reading and watching this, just, you know, come at me. What do you think's logical about treating a fucking little kid worse than a rapist? Right? Worse than a rapist. Because it's not even about bullying. It's not about bullying. It's not about this issue. It's not about that kid picking on that kid. This issue is about our fundamental belief in redemption. In the belief that if you do something wrong, you can sincerely change your ways and your beliefs and get back on the horse. And I want anyone who's listening to tell me that they don't think that. And an analogy I used when I was arguing with one of these fucking idiots on Twitter or on my YouTube comment was the movie American History X. Has anyone not seen American History X? Oh yeah, cheers, Mike. Like the video. Apparently that's good. I never ask because I'm not trying to make money out of it. But yeah, do that. Like the fucking video. Anyway, so American History X. Everyone seen that film? Probably. It's a good one. Although you're all kids nowadays, aren't you? In American History X, the short version, I won't even spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. But the short version of American History X is, he's a neo-Nazi skinhead, right? His dad got killed by blacks when he was like a firefighter, I think. And he despises them. So he becomes a full-on neo-Nazi and he's an arsehole and he hates the Jews and he hates the blacks and he hates the Mexicans. And he kills two black lads who were breaking the law. I think they go to steal his truck or something. And then he kills them, curb stomps one of them. And I don't want to spoil the film for you. But the very short version is, by the end of the film, you are rooting for the Nazi guy. Because he goes to prison and he makes friends with a black dude and he realises the error of his ways. And years later, and he reads and he educates himself. And years later, he clearly is repentant of what he used to do. And it's a really popular film. Look, 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Because it speaks to all of us. Because hope is what makes life worth living. Without hope, there's no point. The whole reason we have hope is because you're like, things can get better. Yeah, bite the gut. I remember it's pretty violent. It's hope that we can be better. We can be better as a species. I told you guys one of my favourite quotes from Terry Pratchett. He said, we're not a fallen angel. We're a rising ape. And isn't that a fantastic thing? To a non-religious man like me, I think that's a good message. Because it's saying, we can keep getting better. We can keep working towards a future that's better. And the fundamental aspect of this bullying case is, do you agree with the idea of redemption and repentance? And when you watch that film, by the end of it, you go, fucking hell, I feel a bit bad for him now. Because he's changed. He's definitely changed. And he's went from being a racist to a non-racist. Nobody's suggesting, again, this is the crazy times we're living in, these fucking social activist, communist lunatics who call everyone a grifter. Everyone's a grifter. Glenn Greenwald resigned because of the disgraceful behaviour of the media in America. And now they're all, oh, grifter, grifter. He's like a 50-year-old man that's had a 20-year career. And they're all just like, oh, fucking grifter. No. What about he changed his mind? Don't you believe that people can change the ways, can change the mind? I voted for Labour when I was 20. Now I wouldn't piss on Tony Blair if he was on fire. Jeremy Corbyn's a communist arsehole and I hate him. I'm not pretending. I used to vote Labour, now I don't. Jerry Bootneck, alright, egg fried rice. I used to vote Labour, now I don't. Not a grifter. Changed my fucking mind. And if a full-blown neo-Nazi can change his mind and go from, I hate black people and they should all be killed. Oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Someone will quote mine that one because they're dishonest. They'll make a 4-second clip and then they'll say, look at that. That's what he thinks them. When I'm really making a passionate speech for the power of forgiveness and redemption and tolerance. Yeah, very liberal for an angry man like me. But this is my point. You can change. And this kid was 13 years old when he was bullying. And he's now 18 years old. He's still a kid now. And on Twitter, you would think he was a fucking baby raper. It's unbelievable. Stuff that we're coming out with, it's just fucking nonsense. Look, this guy, the excuses you make for this kid are astounding. 5 upvotes. Excuses. Saying a child shouldn't be judged like a 30-year-old. Saying that a child shouldn't be treated, a school bully shouldn't be treated like a fucking rapist or a murderer, is me making excuses for him. Not logical. No aspect of it is. So, there's that. I was hoping for a better argument in the comments, but I haven't got one. Bit of an echo chamber. I'm going soft in my old age. Yeah, I guess I am. Because I don't think we should treat school bullies like fucking registered sex offenders or rapists. Like, it's ridiculous. Ragul, don't be giving Chris too much shit, because like I said, I voted for Tony Blair in 1997, I think it was. I think that was the first election I was allowed to vote in. Like I just said, you don't know fuck all when you're 18. You think you do, you definitely don't. And I'm living proof of that. So that's done. Nobody wants to argue. We'll call it there. I will talk about some other good things though. Yeah, Hillary's basket of irredeemables, deplorables. It's like, you should never use the word irredeemable. People think I'm right-wing. I'm not right-wing. I'm centrist. And I'm left-wing in many ways. I think it's shocking to call people irredeemable. Nobody's irredeemable. We think even murderers aren't irredeemable, do we? We think that if you're a gangbanger... I mean, how many of these same activists who are complaining at me on Twitter love to stick up for, like, a black woman who killed someone? Like, they go, oh, this black woman killed someone when she was 19, but she was people trafficked and she was abused, so she killed the pimp, and now she's fucking great. And it's like, well, yeah, but only one of us is being illogical then, aren't they? Because I'm completely in lockstep with what I've just said about this school bully. You're the one who's deciding, oh yeah, if it's a black woman who shoots a man dead, that's acceptable completely because there was other circumstances. But if a little kid bullies someone at school, he's deplorable and irredeemable and he's fucking evil and we should just ruin his life forever. Illogical. Again, I haven't heard a good argument against it. I will wait for further ones on my comments and, as usual, shoot them fucking down in flames by saying, all right then, did you watch American History X and think that the skinhead should have just been shot in the head at the very start of the movie? Did you get to the end and think, nah, I don't feel sorry for him. I think he's total scum, and everyone who ever does anything wrong is total scum. Yeah, exactly, Aranis. If they're irredeemable, kill them all, right? I mean, that's not just hyperbole, right? There's only 3 options we can take with criminals. 4, if you include penal colonies, but we realised they were a bad idea, so we got rid of them, right? There's only 4. 3. I'm getting rid of penal colonies. We're not going to send them all to Mars, are we? 3 options, right? For dealing with criminals, people that do things wrong. You can either... Yeah, I'm doing that in a minute. I'm doing handball in a minute. You can either kill them, put them in prison and never let them out, ever, or reform them. There's your three options. Me, I disagree with the very right-wing people, because I'm not lock them up forever type. I'm very, very reluctantly death penalty, and I only advocate that for the absolute worst crimes, i.e. people that can never be rehabilitated, like Ian Huntley, yeah? Because the argument they always make with that is they say, oh yeah, well, prison isn't about punishment, it's about reform. They love to say that. But then when Ian Huntley kills a few kids, they say, oh, winner, he's never getting out of prison. It's like, well, if he's never getting out of prison, what's the point? What's the point? But my point is that option, the third option, reform, rehabilitation, that's the point of prison. That's why we have it. And the idea that if someone does something wrong, they're despicable and we should just write them off forever is inherently illiberal. These modern liberals don't know the meaning of the word liberal. I'm a fucking liberal. They aren't. They're a digital lynch mob with fucking pitchforks, Twitter pitchforks. I was going to talk about this book, but I've rambled for too long, so I can't. If you haven't read So You've Been Publicly Shamed, read it, because it's a fantastic book. John Ronson's a great writer, and I like all of his stuff. And this was one that I read years ago. It came out in 2016. I think I read it when it first came out. And fantastic book. Like, talks about this stuff. All the people who've been completely villainized and treated worse than scum because of quips, jokes, pranks, is just unbelievable. So that is, I just feel like that's linked to what I've been talking about. Moving on to the other stories, because I've got all one, so I'm going to do a few more. The other one that made me laugh is, yeah, this one, right? Here we're looking at 16th century English aristocrat. I don't get it. I mean, I don't think we should be changing the races and the sexualities of well-known fictional characters. But it's not the end of the world if you're talking about a fictional character, is it? I don't think it is. But when you start talking about real historic people and you're casting them like that, it's beyond a joke. Like, it's not a small detail that there wasn't any black people in the UK in the 1500s. It's not a small detail, is it? History is a thing, and we have to keep it. We have to preserve it, the knowledge. It's not a small detail to tell a generation of children that Britain had black people all over the place in the 1500s, right? It didn't look like a New York subway in 2020. It just didn't. So that is just wrong. Fictional characters I'm not that bothered about. If they want to make Spider-Man a gay black man, do what you want. I don't care. Still better if they just write their own characters. There's loads of good black superheroes. I used to be into comics when I was a kid. Luke Cage, Night Thrasher, Dwayne Taylor. He was my favourite superhero, Night Thrasher. There was Blade. There's loads of good ones. I don't see why you need to make Spider-Man a gay black man. But whatever. However, real people from history, seriously, what are we doing? 1533 to 1536. No, didn't happen. Because again, like I always talk about ripples in a pond, think of all the events in real life history. Every second an event takes place that echoes through the ages. And to change the race of someone, you're throwing everything else off. You're throwing off the dates of the slave trade, the Mayflower, everything that in history ripples through the ages. And you're throwing everything out of whack if you're going to have people thinking that there was large numbers of black people in the UK in 1533. Just wasn't. So when did they arrive? When? Must have been before 1533. No, we know when they arrived. They arrived in the 50s, the 1950s, after the Second World War. So, ridiculous. And the other thing I will say is, have you noticed how it only ever goes one way? Only ever goes one way. You can put black women in as historically white characters, but you definitely can't put a white person in as a black character. And so not in fiction, not in comic books, not in fiction, and not in history. You could never cast a white guy as Martin Luther King, could you? I even seen a story last year where a guy was saying that you shouldn't be allowed to cast someone in roles if they aren't disabled. I wonder if I can find that. Let me have a look. Yeah. Rolling out limits. This was on The Guardian, look. Here we are. Is it ever okay for non-disabled actors to play disabled roles? Right? So, shortcut, this is The Guardian. It's not. It's not okay. But they're actually having a go at Bryan Cranston because he played a guy in a wheelchair. They're actually having a go at him saying, you can't do that. You should get a real disabled in, as if that's acting, right? It's not acting, is it? It's not fucking acting. If you just go, right, we need a disabled, wheel one in, then no one's acting. You're just getting real disabled people to be disabled on camera. It's not acting. Soldiers, I'm a 5'2", a veteran. I don't get offended if they go, right, we're making a fucking movie about Iraq. Oh, well, we can't have all these people in who never went to Iraq. We need real soldiers in. No, you don't, because real soldiers can't fucking act. I can't act. Never done any training. Probably shit at it. So, it's not okay for non-disabled actors to play disabled roles, but it's totally okay for a massive black woman to play a little dwarf from fucking an English aristocrat from the 1500s. Yeah? Yeah? I'll leave it there. When we get to peak illogicalness, I'll leave it there. Fucking madness. What else is funny? I've got 25 minutes to go. Gary Lineker. You knew I'd do this one, didn't you? You knew I'd do this one. He's kept you out of the job. The bastard. John Wayne played Genghis Khan. Did he? I didn't know that. Daniel Day-Lewis, that was in the 90s. Now Daniel Day-Lewis is scum. Yeah, he is cis-het, patriarchal scum, and he should be tarred and feathered and then locked in a chest and dumped in the North Sea. Yeah. Take a normal actor and break his legs. Quality. So, here's another one. Gary Lineker shares emotional letter from brilliant refugee. Even that, it's sort of condescending, isn't it? Like, you refugees, you're brilliant. It's like scuffing the hair of a, like, it sounds like something Ricky Gervais would do in like The Office or something. Like scruff the hair of a, disableds are all right. You guys are great. It's fucking proper condescending. So Gary Lineker shares his emotional letter from his brilliant refugee who said, I feel like your family. So here's the letter, right, lads? There's the letter. You see that? Yeah. First of all, I've got good handwriting because I'm artistically minded. That fucker has got better handwriting than 95% of the general public in the UK, right? And you have to be taught that. When I was a bairn, you used to write with a pencil and then you had to pass a test, a writing test. And only when you passed your test did they issue you a fountain pen with a little cartridge in, and then you used to learn calligraphy. And the problem nowadays is nobody learns calligraphy. The kids don't get taught it. They call it cursive in the United States. All the kids have got terrible handwriting because nobody does cursive anymore. And they want me to believe that a third world migrant, I'm presuming from somewhere without a good education system, has got the best fucking handwriting I've ever seen. That is better than mine. And I've got good handwriting. So he's either really, really, really well educated, at which point I would say probably isn't a fucking refugee. Right? Or he's a lying bastard. I reckon Gary Lineker's got one of his lefty lovey chums who went to a good university and is very, very well written and well spoken to write that fucking letter. Because I don't know anyone whose handwriting's that good, not including me, and I've got good handwriting. Secondly, this is a big second, right? He puts in that first line there. When I was moving to your home, I was worried that you might be unfriendly and conservative. Right? And he's from a Muslim country, which I know this is going to blow the minds of any lefties watching. Islam is one of the most conservative ideologies currently in the world. The liberal left are insane. They think if you're a brown person, you can't be right-wing, right? Abu Hamza, feminist. Osama bin Laden, pro-gay rights, yeah? Ayatollah Sistani, liberal. Nice liberal chaps. No. It's not how it works, boys. Muslims are conservative. If you get someone like fucking Abu Hamza to take the political compass test, guess where he sits? He's not left of Owen Jones, he's right of fucking Boris Johnson. They are conservative. So why would a Muslim from a third world country, presumably a practicing Muslim, be worried about conservatives? He is conservative. His country is conservative. Do you think Pakistan is a liberal fucking paradise? Do you think in Pakistan they're all up for gay rights and the women voting? They don't even think women should be allowed to vote, and I think little kids should get their heads caved in if they fucking write a poem. So I don't think this Oxbridge-educated professional calligrapher that opens his letter with, "At least you're not a conservative," I don't think he's being honest. Just my opinion. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm being harsh there, right? There's loads of professional calligraphers who are socially liberal and anti-conservative. There's loads of them on them boats. If you were to pull over one of them boats, just get out, write me a letter. He'll be like, "Of course, mon ami." And he'll then scroll some nice twirly fucking A's, and you'll go, "Bloody hell, hasn't he got good handwriting, this third world migrant? Fucking hell." Whoever, if he did write that, we want to give him, put him in charge of the fucking writing the prescriptions in the local doctor's office, because he's got better handwriting than fucking every British doctor that works for the NHS. I'd fucking employ the cunt. So yeah, that's total bollocks. Rashid, look at that nice flowery R, nice long R at the end. Fantastic. Rashid, you are. I love that flowing G as well. And his D. It's marvellous. He's fantastic, Rashid. What a guy. What a guy. Total fiction, that, isn't it? Next up. This should make you all fucking puke. How utterly tone deaf you have to be to shout "Respect Islam" outside the French embassy in London the day after an Islamic terrorist murdered 3 French Christians in cold blood. Segued neatly into this, didn't it? But seriously, this goes way beyond tone deaf. This goes way beyond tone deaf. What's the name? Oh yeah, let's have a look. As if. Is it as if? Rashid. I guess you don't. It just says Rashid. Yeah. Rashid, the Oxbridge calligrapher. This goes way beyond tone deaf. Way beyond tone deaf. This is outside the French embassy the day after innocent pensioners have been decapitated by jihadis. Look at this. Right, I'm not watching any more of that. That goes way beyond tone deaf. That is despicable. Despicable. That is worse than wanking outside a primary school. At least when you do that, they only get visually scarred. Right? That is absolutely shocking. And I can't believe that we're just being a little bit angry on Twitter. Let me tell you this, right? Here's my plan for dealing with this. I'm socially liberal. I'm not cool with being super aggressive with crime. But this seems to me to be a reasonable suggestion, right? All of these people that are so extremist, not tone deaf, extremist. If you're fucking doing that outside the French embassy, talking about respecting Islam when they've just murdered and beheaded innocent people, you are an extremist. By definition, you are an extremist. Nobody in that crowd, not one of them, is a moderate Muslim. Again, I'm not Islamophobic. I don't even like the word, but I don't have a problem with Muslims because I went to a school where there's plenty in Middlesbrough, and most of them grow up to talk like me, like a pint, not really follow the religion of the parents. But those people there are extremists. So my point is, that is probable cause. If you're at that rally, you're an extremist. You've definitely displayed probable cause. We should be scared of all of those people there. So at that point, the police should round up a lot of them. You can do it intelligence-led. You don't have to cause a scene and do it there and then. Intelligence-led operation. Every single one of them should be get a visit from the police at 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, issued with a warrant, and then go through their laptop, PC, mobile phone, and a few drawers. And I guarantee 9 out of 10 of them will have actionable materials that we could have them prosecuted, charged, and jailed. Definitely. Definitely. Or they are extremists. The nice moderate Muslims, they're not. They do not think it's acceptable to have a riot outside the French embassy after some fucking nice old woman's just had her head chopped off. They don't. So those people, you can get them. Nail them. And then, this is something else we don't do. If they're born in Britain, because I don't agree with the far right, if they're born in Britain, they're British. I have to believe that because of all the people that I went to school with whose parents were Pakistani and didn't grow up to be fucking lunatic Muslims. So I'm not advocating that. But anyone who wasn't born here and was either granted citizenship in the last fucking 20 years, given a work permit, given a visa, any of them, every single one of them can be jailed and then deported. Which, looking at that crowd, probably about fucking half of them. And then the other half, lock them up, try and rehabilitate them, whatever plans we have to try and get them to see sense. But every single one of them should be getting a fucking knock on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyone got a problem with that? That seems reasonable, centrist, logical, intelligence-led, totally reasonable. And it won't happen. And then a few of them will knife a few people next year, and the British government, as usual, will go, well, we never saw that coming. We fucking did. I did. Get it sorted. Priti Patel. Useless little fat midget. Sort your fucking life out. We're talking about children here. They kill little kids. You can't read about what happened in Manchester and see that little girl, Safi, a little kid, blown to bits because we fucking import scum and we don't do anything about it. It makes me sick. Like I said, I've made a video about it. These civil servants that sign off on their on giving them passports, when even someone with no training at all, like a bricklayer or a plumber, if you just give the background sheets to a plumber and said, do you think we should give these two people asylum? And he reads it and he goes, fucking hell, they were in ISIS. Fucking hell, Colonel Gaddafi was going to kill them. Fucking hell, they're extremists in Libya. They were too extreme for the Libyans. Oh yeah, let's give them a British passport. It wouldn't happen. The civil servants and the politicians need to be criminally charged for allowing these people to get away with it. It's criminal negligence. Negligence. If I was the chief of police instead of Cressida, the rug muncher in chief, all those people would be getting jailed next week. Because I guarantee I'd be finding the extremist materials on the phones and the laptops tomorrow morning. Guarantee it. Unbelievable. What else did I want to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to finish on something a bit more jovial, because all that stuff that's gone on makes me angry. So here is a nice bit of comedy gold. Although it does still make me a little bit angry because it's yet more evidence of the government being completely incompetent and spending money like drunk sailors on shore leave in Vegas. But just look at this. Someone sent me this, by the way, so thanks, whoever that was.
Of the pandemic is the poverty arising from mass unemployment, which could lead to food insecurity and hunger. Indeed, the dismal findings of the government-backed National Food Strategy Review says that poverty and poor diets are a toxic mix leading to a slow-motion disaster, especially for children. It's calling for free school meals for an extra 1.5 million children in England. Rebecca Barry has more.
10-year-old boys like Abdul shouldn't have to worry about their mum's ability to buy them enough food.
Do we even need a comment? You know what I'm going to say, don't you? The taxpayers, right? You've got bus drivers, bricklayers, window cleaners. They're having to pay for these two to feed them. What, was there no sound there, Andy? I thought there was sound. There was sound, wasn't it? Hang on, let me check.
And pay the bills.
Oh yeah, it's just quiet.
Because National Food Strategy Review says
If I can turn up there.
Poverty and poor diets are a toxic mix leading to a
Not very loud.
slow-motion
But anyway.
disaster, especially in children.
10-year-old
Short
boys
version
like
is-
Abdul shouldn't have to worry about their mum.
They're saying we need to help feed these people. So you've got window cleaners and bus drivers and plumbers. And they have to feed because she looks malnourished, doesn't she? She is definitely in food poverty. She's definitely missing meals. Definitely. Is the mum eating all the son's food? Fucking hell. Well, the son's not skinny. He doesn't look malnourished. He doesn't look like he's ever missed a meal, does he? She looks like she fucking ate the bus driver. Talking about bus drivers paying all the wages. She ate the fucking bus driver. She ate the bus driver and the window cleaner. Food poverty. From a woman with a fucking head like a wheelie bin. Don't tell me she's in food poverty. A fucking head weighs about 8 stone. And I've got... Well, no, I'm not a British taxpayer anymore. You've got to feed her. Lads, you've got to feed her. Sean... Jerry, you're feeding her because the poor bastards she can't afford it. She can't afford to feed herself. That kid, he's not malnourished. In fact, he looks slightly overweight, bit of extra beef around the love handles there. And his fucking mother's got legs like upside down kebabs. Like, she's just... Anyway, you can listen to the last of it.
Mum's ability to buy them enough food and pay the bills.
I'm lonely because it's too much money for water bill and stuff. I just feel really sad because we don't know if we might get kicked out.
That's why he gets free
look.
school meals.
More chins than the Chinese phone book. Fuck me.
So he can focus on learning. Now a review says many more children like him should get this help to tackle a slow-motion disaster of poverty and poor diet.
Yeah, I feel very sad. I feel very down. If I don't know how to juggle myself around, I can't even afford to buy clothes for them.
Mildred Carnew. Is that Carnew's mum? Might be Carnew's mum. She's probably got about 40 million in the bank. She's got 40 million sausage rolls in the freezer. Fuck me. So yeah, there you go. Are they taking the piss? Look at the fucking head on it. Where was that? That nice profile shot there, look. You could just cut like an inch off from under her chin and that'd feed the little cunt for a week. She is so fat when she cuts her leg shaving, marshmallow foam comes out. Like, that's unbelievable. And these are the people we're worrying about. Oh, I've got to feed them. More money. They're all getting money, but we have to give them more. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So yeah, that made me laugh. Mother is built like a brick shit house and is claiming food poverty. Built like a brick shit house. Fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, so that's the news for the day. I thought I'd go over it all. Round up. Let's be quick. I've got 5 minutes. So we've got Mitchell Miller. Yeah. Poor little bastard was 13 years old. Give him a break. I can't believe the digital pitchforks that have come out for him. It's unbelievable. Head like a fucking water buffalo. Arse like the back end of a bus. Shouldn't be getting fucking meals paid for by a bus driver. Sorry. Not just tone deaf. Full-blown terrorists. Intelligence-led operations. Check the phones and computers. And jail or deport. The fucking lot of them. Gary Lineker's letter is as fake as a fucking Chinese Rolex, unless the third world migrant has an Oxbridge education and is a trained calligrapher and somehow hates conservatives even though Islam is a conservative ideology. Tall black women shouldn't be playing 16th century English aristocrats. Go and read that book because it's fucking good. And yeah, let's have a little bit more compassion and forgiveness in the world, shall we? Call me. Doesn't sound very angry, Bootneck, does it? But there we go. Right, thanks for watching, guys. I'm done. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to start doing these more often because I do enjoy them. Now that I'm banned from fucking going to the gym or the pub, it's I might as well talk to fucking random arseholes on the internet. Thanks for checking it out. And I'm going to do a stream tomorrow with my man, Big Al, the whiskey man. So check it out in the morning. I think it's about 9 o'clock, about 6 o'clock UK time. Yeah, and I'll see you guys soon. All right. Thanks for checking it out. Godspeed.